Here at FantasyoMatic, we provide free weekly rankings. These rankings are for the position categories of quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defense and special teams. And we update these every Tuesday around noon Pacific, but you'll want to make sure that you check the week that's indicated on the top of each rankings page and the timestamp to make sure that you're looking at the most current week. I'll also note that we do update different players throughout the course of the week based on injury reports that come really on practice reports from Wednesday and Fridays, and then any indication that we get about player usage. One of the variables that we're able to affect within the algorithm and its output are the number of touches that a player is expecting to receive. And in some cases, maybe there might be some impact on other players. So for example, wide receivers might be affected by a backup quarterback playing that week instead of the normal quarterback. And there are areas within our algorithm where we're able to go in and make those adjustments. So when we do that, we'll push out the updates for those players. And in turn, then you'll see the date, the timestamp updated on the top of the page. So if you've checked the rankings already on a Tuesday and you're curious about any updates, come back later in the week and you'll see the refreshed rankings. So just like other rankings, this is same kind of thing that you're normally used to. The players at the top of the list are the ones who are expected to have the highest output for the week, and the players in the bottom are expected to not have the highest output. Our rankings are sorted in descending order by this column, the week rating. The week rating takes into account several different variables, but the algorithm is really taking into account the player's year-to-date rating, which really is derived from their ability to overcome tough matchups and take advantage of good matchups, and then other factors as well. It starts with that, and it adds various different matchup factors. Only one of the matchup factors is the opponent for that week. As a matter of fact, if you click the arrow on any one of these, you'll notice that we have a couple of those matchup factors listed. And you'll notice that we're using arrows. So a dark green arrow indicates the best possible tier. So in this case, when we're looking at Cam Newton's opponent this week, the New Orleans Saints, they happen to be the #1 easiest matchup for quarterbacks at the time of this recording. So they have a dark green up arrow. So you want to look for dark green up arrows when you're looking at opponents. Then there are other factors, for example, home and away and surface. What we're saying there is that quarterbacks who play at home statistically do better than quarterbacks who are on the road, and quarterbacks who play on grass statistically do better than quarterbacks who are playing on other surfaces. We actually have quite a few different variables that are factored into both the player ratings and week ratings, but we decided that we are showing you opponents, home, away, and surface so that you can see how those affect each player. So the matchup adjustment value that you see right here is really just the difference between what the player's rating is, which can be thought of as their year-to-date rating, and what their current weekly rating is. So what this tells us is that while Cam Newton is normally a 63, who would be sort of down in the middle of the pack range, his matchup factors are so good this week that he's going to be an 85. So that's a plus 22 matchup adjustment for the week. So if you want to look at players that are really going to outperform their normal output, you look at high plus values in the matchup adjustment category. A better way to think of this is any player with a green up arrow, you can expect more from them this week, and any player with a down red arrow, you can expect less from their output this week. So expect more, expect less is sort of vernacular that we use here at FantasyoMatic, and we want to show you the different degrees at which you can expect more. So really the things to concentrate on from a rankings standpoint are really the week rating and how that compares to other players you might be trying to make a decision on. So if I'm looking at Matt Ryan versus Cam Newton this week, I would look at the 85 for Cam Newton in the week rating and say we can expect more out of him than we can expect from Matt Ryan. However, the player rating, which is really their value over the course of a season, tells us that outside of this week, Matt Ryan at a 78 is a much more valuable player to have on your roster than Cam Newton. So check back every week for our free weekly rankings here at FantasyoMatic, which are driven by not only player ratings and various matchup adjustment values, but most importantly, our proprietary week rating value. And the most important thing about this is I want you all to understand that this is all just machine learning, algorithm driven data. This has nothing to do with some dude's opinion on who's going to do what, or some eyeball or a test, or this guy's due for the week, or all that silliness. This is all about math. So if you want a fresh and original approach to looking at rankings for your fantasy football players each week, come to FantasyoMatic.com and check out our free rankings pages for each position category.